Hi there, welcome to Black and White. I chose that name because some issues are black and white, some fall into the grayscale, but either way, my name is Tony Loop. I actually hope to be able to bring in some guests and develop this into more of either a blog radio, internet radio show, or possibly a YouTube show. Um, we originally were going to do a radio show, me and someone else, regarding the issues of the day and the type of topics of ethics, politics, religion, and get into these discussions, and then have callers call in. That didn't work out so well, you know. But we will. I think I'm going to try and move towards that goal. Now, in this particular episode, I was thinking, there's a local group of atheists, and they have meetings and they watch some stuff, and they talk about it, and they meet and they talk and all that. And I joined the group. I haven't been able to get to a meeting yet, and I let them know, look, I don't consider myself an atheist. Technically, my background, I actually converted to Islam, and I'll discuss that. I have no problem discussing that. I have no problem discussing Buddhism, Taoism, any religion. And in fact, one of the points that kind of gets me a little is that, and I think it's important as a ground rule, is labels and terminology. For example, in Islam, if you throw around the term prophet, you can kind of get yourself in trouble. The term prophet is pretty reserved for certain people. Me personally, I always liked to use the term to mean a person who, for whatever reason, had an insight, a very special ability, above and beyond what would be the average or normal. For example, if you look at Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee had incredible insight into martial arts. Gandhi, incredible insight into non-violent civil disobedience. Incredible. Einstein, I mean, you look at the work he did. It's just incredible. Young, there's so many, Carl Jung. There's so many people out there. I mean, so many. Like, there's millions and millions of these people, but there are very select people in very select groups, the best of the groups, and those people, they reach a level. In some people might call it enlightenment. It's not the religious connotation where once you have enlightenment, the entire world becomes different. But the enlightenment that, look, I have some insight into this, and a much greater and deeper insight than anyone else ever had. And even Da Vinci, you look at Da Vinci, those people on the edge. If you look at Jesus, Jesus of Nazareth, you say, okay, look at this guy. Now maybe, hypothetically, okay, I don't want to get anyone in trouble here, but no, again, okay, let's say he's just a guy. Let's say he's not at all. Let's say you don't believe in God. Bring the atheist back here. If you don't believe in God, he's not the son of God, all that good stuff. Fine. Let's say, though, he is this great revolutionary. And he's got these great, civil disobedience, get out there, change the system, change society. Now, maybe that's all he was. And maybe, all he did was anything anyone else could do. But he did it, and he did it in such a way that it created that movement. So you kind of got to give it to the guy. And again, in Muhammad and any other, Moses, Okay, you want to go back to all the biblical people, and these people were leaders, and they changed the system, and so, or the society, the world, Buddha, whoever. The So the idea of a prophet, again, let's get away from these very strict, we need strict definitions in certain terms. We do. And sometimes, though, for example, if your idea of God is a person, the image of man in some, cloud out in space somewhere, some people have a very difficult time with that concept. And okay, so why don't we talk about the concept of, maybe each individual person, if you look at planets, each individual planet has some form of gravity. There's some type of bond. Atomic particles have a bond. Neutrons flow around, electrons, okay, they float around the protons. Things happen for a reason. I don't want to say things happen for a reason. There's very scientific, provable bonds, nuclear bonds. I mean, we can get all into that, but the idea is there are those forces. One of the things I've tried to say is that those forces, when you look at them, and even on the greater scale, on a scale of an ecosystem, okay, if one animal eats another, it's not a big deal. You look at it just in that picture, but you look at how that animal eating the other animal controls that population. The control of that population controls another population. When one aspect of that ecosystem is taken out, the entire system can collapse. And you look at how that functions and works on the grander scale, and then you start thinking about the other parts and how these things all interact throughout the levels, and you say, okay, well, maybe that's structure. Maybe that when you start adding up the greater whole, you add up the parts, and maybe the parts, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze, the individual parts, when added up, are actually greater than, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Yeah? It's been a long time, but I'm trying to get back into this because I love philosophy, I love religion, I love ethics, I love to talk about this stuff. And science, we talk about, I am not a math guy, but again, we start talking about quantum physics or superstring theories and all that, because I think the wider your knowledge base, when you're looking at this and you start looking at that bigger picture, I think you can start having these different ideas and definitions of God, which brings me back to the point, this use of the terminology. If someone says God, we got people fighting over the use of the word Allah or God, which they're interchangeable. It's just the silliest argument ever. But because it's a label, just like Democrat, Republican, atheist, Catholic, once a label gets attached, that takes on so much more meaning than what really should be there. It's our own preconceived ideas. And maybe it's time we backed off and said, you know what? In general, I tend to agree with I tend to agree with the pillars of Islam. I tend to agree with the Ten Commandments. Most people don't need a book to tell them, hey, look, you shouldn't go out killing people. Some people do. Some people really do, and some people wouldn't listen, to God Himself. If that's how you want to look at it, that was a phrase. The idea is that I really hope that this site, that this playlist, that this series, we can discuss the different things. I'd love to hear what people think about what a prophet is. You know, what's your definition of God? How do you see it? I mean, how do you define it, and why do you define it that way? So those are the questions. And if someone wants to respond to them, that's great. It's just food for thought. You know, let's talk about this stuff. Let's put it out there. What do you think about labels? I'm not going to do question of the week. Maybe I will. Right now, I'm just trying to get the series started, and like I said, I'm going to see where it ends up and where it develops. Right now, I think this is. I'm at the 10-minute. I'm just over the 10-minute mark, so I want to close it down. I don't want to rattle on for half an hour. To start with, you get the idea where we're heading, and if you want to join in and be part of it, by all means, let me know. Let's talk, and let's see if we can change the world. All right. Thank you for your time. This is Black and White, and I'm Tony Loop.